Could it really be that simple? The whole Kiely Rodni story summed up in 60 seconds or less. In 180 characters or less, on the nightly news or on Twitter. Teen dies driving home from a huge teenage party after drinking and crashing into the water. It's not that simple, as we've all come to appreciate, understand, think upon, and reflect over time and time again. This was no DUI. This was a way of gathering society's attention to a topic that's under-discussed. Involving three 16-year-olds checking out all at once, as if together, to send a message. We were meant to understand what was summed up best by Kiely Rodni herself, with her own hands, using her own voice, and by her facial expressions in videos and photographs, thereby leaving enough of herself behind. Those thoughts falling away from her for all of us to stumble across and learn how to follow and how to interpret her pantomime. If we only looked around enough. As outsiders, is it impossible for us to consider? After long reflection, how could we collectively still not get it? This series of giant red flares shot into the night by 16-year-old teens who all hung out in the same circles. Even if it is DUI simple, and it's not, one thing is true. It was a massive attention grab, like a wolf being grabbed by Peter by the tail and pointing to a massive problem that begs for all of our rapid attention. Begs to be better known by more people who can band together and help. What is not simple is an experienced teen driver allowing a vehicle to become submerged and not attempting to get out, especially when the windows are down and there's virtually no damage to the vehicle, indicating that it went into the water at a slow pace of 5 miles per hour or less. If that car had gone in on a wrong-way road into Prosser at higher speeds, it would have been smashed up, its airbags deployed, and all of the contents in the car would be in the front compartment from the impact. So it's really impossible to say that she must have just deleted herself from the world on accident, following a road that no one could mistake for being the right way, no matter how completely smashed they were. A road that is so bumpy so as to give itself away. You were way off course and likely boonies crashing. No, she didn't drive into the lake that way. But Kiley did want to make that statement that there were wrong ways involved in a teenager's death found after national search efforts and weeks-long pleas from the community. Kiley always took the high road. Unlike her alleged demise by going down a wrong-way road and rolling gently into the water, with her belongings evenly distributed around the interior of the car afterwards. Like a carefully pantomimed victim of the smiley-faced cult, whose elders raised her the wrong way, perhaps. She did want to become known for that and to make those statements, I think. She also wanted to stand out against abuse and be remembered as a beacon to others, and to us all, of the costs involved raising kids the wrong way. She wanted to become the poster child for how not to raise a kid, painting herself out as a wrong-way girl over 30 times. Her story playing itself out all on its own following her carefully constructed imagery, all depicting exactly where in California and Nevada they ask way too much of their kids. Especially in some towns. Especially when most of the group are all cut from the same satanic cloth, following satanic and therefore wicked methodology. It must be terrifying to be a kid growing up in and around such places. Terrifying enough to have 3 of them all check out at once. Kiely Rodni may have taken her high road, shining her beauty and her inner light for all to see. She could have decided to surrender herself after being the main attraction and allegedly getting into a fist fight with Sammy Smith, painting herself through her friend's commentary as someone who may have went down swinging in front of all 300 plus of her peers. She allegedly had been to Prosser hundreds of times before, and she knew the difference between a paved road and one with potholes large enough to give even a 4x4 trouble, and she knew where they all were. Potholes drawing the driver to attention if there was even any shred of consciousness, making it flat out impossible, this alleged DUI story of 180 characters on Twitter. Simple. There's no drunken way to end up in that water where she allegedly went in. As has been said for 2 years now, it's not a wrong turn or wrong way type of road. None of it makes sense. Unless it was a huge red flag to all of us, and we were meant to slowly come to understand just how severe that town's plight really is, through careful examination of her body language and facial expressions rather than her use of words. It's a place some have a hard time thinking about, and some may try to block out what the Donners and the Reeds allegedly had to do to survive. Those people ate their dead, alleging that they had to do it, following lost trails of old leading back to the Dark Ages or primordial times. It's a place you might not want to think about unless you were born and bred in and around Truckee, California, perhaps. Like Kiely, Trinity and Dante. They had always been there. That's why we need to keep her story out there. To keep Trinity's story and Dante's story out there. And consider them all in their similar lights, suffering similar plights. That's why we need to keep investigating until there's full transparency. We need the rest of the backstories. We need to honor their passing by deeply studying these cult member townships, even if in their lost children's wakes. We must remember the Truckee 3 in the light they were intended, and not let our attention be diverted by the Idahofour events. Events which some believe were designed to take our eyes off of these 3 teens, all from the same towns, all the same age, all attractive and well-liked, who had integrity and were respected. We must not let the Idahofour events and all of the similarities to Jack the Ripper lessen these Truckee teenager impact, or we risk allowing many kids to slip further into that kind of demise. And the people who orchestrated and have motive for the Idahofour events will have won. No more pantomime. I challenge everyone who knew Kiely Rodni to make sure they do the right thing. Pay it forward. Help carry Kiely and Trin and Dante's messages. Clamor for justice every day and until that day. There's only one reason for 3 extremely attractive youngsters to want to check out together all at once. There's only one thing that points to, like 3 children-shaped semaphores in the night, pointing clearly to the habitual satanic persons known to breed and exist in the homes and retreats hidden in the trees surrounding some of the world's most beautiful real estate. I challenge you, if you have received their messages to make a sound. No more pantomime. Get the talking going instead, and keep the talking going until it's all done. All of it. It's to further her legacy and in her memory that we acknowledge and distribute their townships' teenage cries for help. That we help interpret those cries, and we act on them in their names.
Sell your soul to the dark side, and thereby sell the souls of your children to literally Satan. By swearing allegiance behind closed doors amongst those devoted to such paths, perhaps while politely continue to worship other